My character is Clemsy Lawrence, and she's one of the school prefects, which is known as God and Goddesses. So she's sort of top of the pecking order in a certain way. And she's got sort of unexpected sort of characteristics that you see later on in the film, where she has a sort of primal side, which you get to know later on.
I remember thinking, first thing was that it's so much fun. You know, it's really, really fun to read. And then when we came to filming it, it became even more fun. These kind of crazy scenes coming to life was really, really exciting. But also there's a lot of very real stuff in there that you can draw upon, and very surreal situations of kind of how it is to be a young person kind of going into an environment that he's not uncomfortable with. And you follow my character through that. And then as the story evolves, more mayhem is thrown into it. And actually it's kind of the fight for your life in many ways.
And did you know who the other cast were going to be when you signed on?
I'd heard names being thrown about, but nothing was set in stone. But yeah, obviously by the time we'd got a little bit closer to filming, then I'd heard who they actually were going to cast as the Bat and Willoughby, who's Asa, and so yeah. Well, after a little while, it kind of got more and more exciting when you start to realise who's going to be playing who, and then you can really visualise it on paper, and you're kind of saying, okay, this is how this is actually going to turn out.
I actually auditioned quite a while before we started shooting. So I auditioned, I'd say, about 7 months before. So I knew I was doing it, and then it was just a case of when. And then I learned who else was doing it. Obviously I knew Simon and Nick were involved, and then, we learned that Michael was involved, and then Finn and Aidan, and then it all kind of fell into place. But I knew I was attached to it for a while. But I auditioned, yeah.
I think I spent about 6 weeks of a 6-week shoot just screaming for just straight every day, for just screaming and jumping and running away from monsters and stuff. It was really, really, really good fun. And I think that when you do a project that's when you're filming a project that's so fun to actually be a part of the shooting process, then you know it's going to be a fun film to watch. And my first time watching it, it kind of was very nostalgic because I was watching all of those memories that we had on set, and that was really, really nice. So. Because
we were shooting quite quickly, everyone was it was very ensemble, and we'd all be on set together, and then we'd go off and do our bits. But it was everyone was there sort of all the time, and it felt very much a group thing. So it was action, but we spent quite a lot of time running around in tunnels underground. I think we had a week where we were just in a tunnel for the entire time, and you couldn't even come up for there's no loo or anything. It took you about 15 minutes to get out of the tunnel, and it was Chislehurst Caves, and then also the caves in High Wycombe.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah, so we're between those two. But the Chislehurst Caves were the really sort of deep.
Yeah,
take you 15 minutes to get up and down, and freezing cold, and yeah.
So we started in August 2017, and it was in total it was about 8 weeks, including rehearsals. And I only got to see it last month or 2 months ago now for the first time. So there's lots of VFX. I think that took about 8 or 9 months to put in all the VFX and all the monsters and all the craziness. And actually, it's funny when you're reacting to stuff that's not actually there in the scenes, when it's actually put in, how those things actually fit together and how they match is really kind of cool.
Yeah, I saw a close encounter Simon Pegg had with a monster's tongue.
Yes, that was hysterical. That was a complete accident. We had this obviously puppet monster that was leaning over Simon with all the sort of the sticks shoved through it and everything ready to go, and Simon's underneath it. They just wanted a quick shot where this monster's tongue sort of just slips out of its mouth ever so slightly to say, I'm dead. And Simon's lying there with his mouth open. He's going, ah! And this monster's tongue just goes straight down into my... He's going, everyone, we had to stop filming because everyone was laughing so much, but yeah.
I think I kind of looked at how she was fitting into the story and everyone's role within that, because it's showing you sort of a view of a public school and boarding school and the different dynamics and the different power struggles and bullying, obviously, and all those different dynamics. And I kind of worked out where she was in that. And what I liked was that she wasn't your typical sort of the one at the top who's the mean girl. It wasn't like that. You know, she was kind, and she's friends with Kay, and she's got all these different, you know, she mucks in, which I really liked.
Yeah, and I think it's a really interesting nod to how kind of social classes work, and how people, when they're brought into these environments, these schools especially, and from such a young age, they're kind of taught to treat people in a certain way. And I think we've all experienced that in some way throughout our lives. And I definitely played sport with kids that were going to those schools, and some of them just had kind of different levels of empathy, and that is addressed in the film, that these people are actually trained to be like that, and you kind of question, those are the leaders of men. They grow up to be leaders, and you know, and there's a line in the film where I say something like, these people grow up to be, you know, politicians and leaders of companies and all of that kind of stuff, and it's true, but they're all kind of, a lot of them are psychos. So we're kind of like playing that fine line of like, where does it start, and how does someone who is normal fit into that, and it's a really challenging thing to do as a teenager, I think.
We had a couple of days where we had someone physically inside the suit, and they were I know we did that in the caves at one point, and we meant to be chased by the monster. I think Nick was in that scene as well. And it was a bit slow for the chase. It was sort of slow motion, so I think we gave up on the chase. But the movement of someone being inside it was really, really amazing and cool. And the tongue could move and the eyes could move. And then we had the smaller ones, remote control. And then obviously we had moments of green screen as well. But it was a combination. And lots of the time the monsters were physically there on set, which was really cool. We went and could go and have a look at them, and the design and everything was unbelievable. It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was always like, I'd say that the closest that I got to that was probably the Harry Potter era that I was obsessed with as a kid. I love those books. I mean, I still do. So I was always really keen to do a film set in a school, because the politics in a school are really fascinating. That hierarchy, and especially at Slaughterhouse, which, you know, where the film's based, that kind of hierarchy was really fascinating to me, and how Crispian put that down on paper was great. But I was also really excited to kind of be back at school and back in a classroom, and kind of that sense of freedom, if you like, to be at a school like that where you're boarding and you're kind of away, you're away from home, and you get to do. I was always really intrigued by that as a kid, so it was nice to be able to explore that in a film as a character.
A lot was, I think, all of it. Because we did it at Stowe, and then other points in High Wycombe, and then it was all matched together, obviously. But Stowe School itself was just ridiculous. So that kind of that worked perfectly. Yeah.
I would like to say that I got the vision from the first phone call Crispian and I had. I read the script, and I was like, I really click with this character, because he's, you know, I found it difficult to fit in some places when I was a kid, and I can see how that felt for Don, my character, and we really talked about it and how it was to kind of be thrown into this environment, and we really kind of got on the same page with regards to what the character's going through. So that was really nice. But then the level and the extent of, and especially the production value, was really surprising to me once I got onto set. Actually, the size of the beast that we were kind of, if you'll pardon the pun, the actual size of it was really, really exciting. And that just fueled the energy on set. You know, we're working long days and, as I say, screaming 24 hours a day. And it was nice to be able to turn up and know that everyone there is all there for the right reasons. And all the young guys as well. You know, there's a group of young adults that are all in the film, and we all became really tight and a good kind of close-knit friendship. So it was really nice for that reason.
Well, I'm currently working on a film in Ireland. Actually flew back last night, and yeah, which is why my hair's red as well.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm playing a scientist, a marine biologist in faunal behaviour. Specialist in faunal behaviour, and it's about a trawler and an infection that gets on board the trawler. So it's a different kind of monster.
I really would love. I mean, it's an alternative horror film, definitely, and it's of kind of Simon Nick's genre, if you like. But I'd really like people to go to the film and I'd really like people to go and watch the film and have a lot of fun and walk away, you know, with a good experience, because it's full on, you know, it's just excitement, and it kind of is non-stop, and I want people to enjoy that like I did when I was filming it.
I think they'll take away a few things. I think they will take away an understanding of the dangers of fracking, which is the sort of underlying message as well. And then I hope they just really, really enjoy it, because I think it's a really fun, enjoyable, engaging film. Yeah, cool. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey, you